Kutokana na vita inayoendelea baina ya Ukraine na Urusi, Ubalozi wa Ufaransa nchini pamoja na Umoja wa Ulaya umesema zinasimama na Ukraine katika kuhakikisha ya kwamba vita hiyo inamalizika kwa njia ya mazungumzo ili kuepuka madhara zaidi yanayoweza kutokea. Taarifa iliyotolewa na Balozi wa Ufaransa nchini Tanzaia Najil Hajloui pamoja na mabalozi wengine walioko nchini ambao nchi zao ziko kwenye Umoja wa Ulaya inasema mnamo Machi 2 mwaka 2022 Baraza Kuu la Umoja wa Mataifa lilipitisha azimio ambalo linaitaka Urusi kusitisha mara moja matumizi ya nguvu dhidi ya Ukraine katika kura iliyoidhinishwa kwa wingi wa nchi 141 ikiwa ni pamoja na nchi zote wanachama wa Umoja wa Ulaya, huku nchi 5 zikipinga na nchi 35 kuacha kupiga kura kati ya wanachama 193 wa jumuiya hiyo.
National Court of Justice based in The Hague in the Netherlands. This court, to which of course Russia and Ukraine are both members, and also Tanzania and all the members of the UN, this body, which is the judicial arm of the United Nations, has published an order that clearly considered this war waged by Russians as an invasion and asked the Russians to stop their military actions. We consider this as a solid base to ask the Russians to stop this war. Our objective is not to be in war on Russia as French, as Europeans in general. Our objective is to stop the war that is waged today against Ukrainians and mostly civilians. So we have shared the text of this order made by the ICJ, and we will let you pick on it what is suitable for your public and for your audience. Second, considering these facts, what should be our attitude? I'm saying our attitude, not the French attitude or the EU attitude, our attitude collectively with you, Tanzanians, with you, people in Africa. What should determine our position? The values that we have, the principles that guide our action, and also from other perspectives, the interests that we can share with Russia or Ukraine or the West or such country. When we talk about principles and values, we believe that we share values of freedom, democracy, rule of law with Tanzania, with the government of Tanzania. We saw it recently when President Samia Hassan came to Paris and held meetings with President Macron, and then in Brussels held meetings, and the first client or customer or importer from Tanzania. And also about development, the commitment for development. EU and France are much more committed to the development of Africa than any other country, as neighbors and as spaces with very old ties and strong ties. I will give you one figure. The volume of the French aid to Africa is about $3 billion a year versus 30 million for Russia. So it's 100 more than the Russians can dedicate to Africa. And of course, when we look up to the impact of this crisis on Africa, we can fear negative impact, rising prices, lack of energy, lack of cereals, etc. So these are things that are still ahead, and EU and France are already figuring out how to prevent this from impacting more and more developing countries, and mostly in Africa. So again, let me repeat it. We are siding with the Ukrainians as victims, as a people that is targeted by an aggression, as the International Court of Justice has already ordered. And we are not waging a war against Russia. We are trying to prevent this war that is waged by Russia. That's why we are keeping the dialogue with the regime in Moscow. There are discussions between our President Macron, and also the other European heads of states with the power in Moscow. And the goal is to prevent the war and to stop the war. This is our objective.
Of Russia against Ukraine, and it has condemned the violation of the international law and the violation of the UN Charter. But let me elaborate on other aspects of this crisis. First of all, the humanitarian impact. We are all seeing very disturbing pictures coming from Ukraine. What is also known is, as of today, 3.5 million people have been obliged to leave Ukraine to go elsewhere in Europe, seeking for a safe place to stay. They are mainly in the East European countries, and this is a major humanitarian crisis which is affecting the European continent. Tanzania in the past has sheltered hundreds of thousands of refugees from other countries, so you are well placed to know what does it mean to receive so many people all together. So there is this humanitarian aspect which is very important, and clearly the European Union is also responding with the humanitarian assistance to Ukraine on the territory of Ukraine, sending medical equipment and whatever can be required by the population which is still there. Because besides the 3.5 million who left the country, there are other millions of Ukrainians who have been displaced from their cities, their homes, seeking a safe place.
Informing me about how it's actually developing at the moment. We have currently close to 2 million Ukrainian refugees escaping Ukraine, escaping the war in Ukraine, in Poland. It means that basically nearly everyone in Poland now knows what it means to be what it means to have a crisis at our own borders. And I tell you, these are the statements, the experience that Ukrainians got while trying to run for their life from the war-ravaged areas is very much telling. According to the data I also read today, the data of the European Union, if the war continues, the number of the refugees can reach even 8 million. Can you imagine 8 million people running for their lives? Each of them have a face, have a voice, they had plans for future. They wanted to continue their life, but it's not possible anymore. And I believe why it happened. I believe it's because Ukrainians wanted actually to choose their future. They wanted to have a right to choose which political alliance, which economic community they would like to belong to, and which civilizational future they could choose for themselves. So regarding this humanitarian crisis, the one point I would like to underline now is that tomorrow at the UN in New York, there will be a voting over the resolution calling for unhindered humanitarian access to all the victims of this war. We are very much hoping that Tanzania will vote in favor. Of course, we are trying to influence the public opinion here in this country in hope that Tanzania government will vote for in terms of this resolution. It touches all the aspects of this conflict, of this war, of this catastrophe that is happening in Ukraine as a result of the Russian aggression, including the cities that are surrounded, bombed, the people who are dying in their homes, in the schools, in the hospitals. But it's not only touching that, it's touching everyone. And the resolution is also calling to provide the protection of all the civilians, including third country nationals, seeking shelter, being there in Ukraine, without any discrimination regarding their race, nationality, or religion.
Tufuatilie kupitia mitandao yetu ya kijamii ikiwemo Instagram na Facebook. Tunatumia Global Publishers, Twitter ni Global Habari.
Hakika wa safari zako.